My friends, I come before you today with a message that burns within my spirit, a revelation that has awakened me night after night until I could no longer contain it. This message is not for everyone. It is for the faithful, the persistent, the ones who have continued believing when every circumstance argued against faith. It is for those who have sown in tears, who have walked through fire and emerged with their conviction intact. Tonight, yes, this very night of May 1st, 2025, marks a divine appointment on heaven's calendar. It is no coincidence that you are hearing this message today. Your presence in this moment was ordained before the foundations of the earth were laid. The convergence of your life journey with this specific day carries prophetic significance that transcends human understanding. Throughout history, the Almighty has operated according to divine timing, precise moments when heaven's purposes intersect with human experience. These divine appointments are not random. They follow ancient patterns, mathematical sequences embedded in creation itself. And tonight represents one such appointment, a moment when the faithful will experience supernatural reward for their perseverance. What do I mean by reward? I am not speaking primarily of material prosperity, though this may manifest for some. The reward coming tonight transcends the temporary and touches the eternal. It is a release of divine recognition, heaven's acknowledgement of faithfulness that seemed to go unnoticed. It is the activation of dormant spiritual gifts that have been preserved for this precise season. It is the sudden alignment of circumstances that transforms obstacles into pathways. For too long, many of you have walked in the shadow of delay. You received promises, divine whispers of purpose and destiny, yet years passed without visible fulfillment. Some of you began to question whether you had heard correctly. Others wondered if perhaps you had somehow disqualified yourselves through imperfection or missteps. A few have been tempted to abandon the journey altogether, concluding that what you once believed with certainty was merely self-deception. Tonight, that season of questioning ends. The reward that comes tonight has been earned not through perfection, but through persistence. Heaven measures faithfulness not by flawless performance, but by the determination to continue despite setbacks. Your willingness to believe when doubt seemed more reasonable, to hope when despair offered a more comfortable alternative, to maintain integrity when compromise promised relief, these choices have been recorded in heaven's ledgers with remarkable precision. The timing of this reward, May 1st, 2025, aligns with ancient patterns that have governed spiritual transitions throughout history. This date marks the convergence of multiple prophetic cycles, creating a unique moment when the veil between the seen and unseen realms grows extraordinarily thin. What has been held back by spiritual resistance suddenly breaks through. What has been delayed by divine timing suddenly accelerates. I see three specific dimensions of reward that will manifest beginning tonight. First, there comes a reward of revelation, sudden clarity about your specific assignment in this critical hour. Many of you have sensed a calling, glimpsed a purpose, yet the complete picture has remained elusive. Tonight, the fragmented pieces of divine direction you've received over years will suddenly form a coherent whole. Questions that have lingered in your spirit will find resolution not through human explanation, but through divine illumination. This revelation will not come as vague impression, but as unmistakable certainty. You will understand not only what you are called to do, but why this assignment matters in heaven's strategic purposes. The seemingly random experiences of your past, including painful chapters you wish to skip, will suddenly reveal their preparatory significance. Nothing has been wasted. Every detail has been essential to your equipping. Second, there comes a reward of authentication, supernatural confirmation that silences both internal doubt and external criticism. Some of you have moved forward in obedience without recognition, serving faithfully while others questioned your legitimacy. Beginning tonight, heaven sets its seal upon your calling through undeniable manifestations that even skeptics cannot easily dismiss. This authentication comes not to inflate ego, but to establish spiritual authority for the assignment ahead. When heaven confirms a calling, it simultaneously empowers its fulfillment. The same voice that declares you are also imparts you can. Divine authentication is always accompanied by divine enablement. Third, and perhaps most significantly, There comes a reward of acceleration, supernatural compression of time that brings rapid fulfillment of long-awaited promises. What would normally require years suddenly materializes in months or even weeks. Divine connections that would typically develop gradually form with remarkable speed. Resources that seemed perpetually on the way suddenly arrive. Momentum that has proven elusive becomes unstoppable. This acceleration serves heaven's timelines. We have entered a season where events of prophetic significance unfold with increasing velocity. The faithful are being synchronized with this divine pace, not through human striving, but through supernatural alignment with heaven's momentum. Now let me speak to specific groups who will experience distinctive dimensions of tonight's reward. To the faithful who have served in obscurity, those who have poured out their lives without recognition or acclaim, tonight heaven's spotlight finds you. Your hidden faithfulness has created a reservoir of spiritual authority that will be suddenly activated. Doors that have remained stubbornly closed will open without human assistance. Those who possess what you need for your assignment will seek you out, drawn by a spiritual recognition that transcends natural networking. To the intercessors who have travailed when others slept, those who have carried spiritual burdens while others pursued comfort, tonight your persistent prayers find dramatic fulfillment. You will witness answers manifesting with speed and specificity that leave no doubt about the effectiveness of your spiritual labor. The reward of the intercessor is seen in the visible, what was first won in the invisible. To the innovators and visionaries who have nurtured dreams that seemed impossible, those who have seen what could be while surrounded by what is, tonight creative solutions crystallize in your spirit. Concepts that have remained tantalizingly incomplete suddenly find their missing components. What has existed as potential becomes immediately implementable. The reward of the visionary is seeing distant hopes transformed into present reality. To those who have struggled financially while maintaining integrity, those who have chosen principle over expedience even when it exacted material cost, tonight marks the end of supernatural restriction and the beginning of supernatural provision. This provision comes not to fund self-indulgence but to resource heaven's purposes. When divine assignment and divine supply align, scarcity gives way to remarkable sufficiency. To the wounded healers who have continued serving despite personal pain, those who have allowed their brokenness to create capacity for compassion rather than bitterness, tonight brings profound restoration. Inner healing that might normally require extended process happens with supernatural speed. The reward for those who have blessed others while themselves in need of blessing is accelerated wholeness that defies natural explanation. What must you do to position yourself for tonight's reward? First, create space for divine encounter. The reward that comes requires room in your life, your schedule, your attention. Many will miss heaven's visitation not through rebellion but through distraction, lives so filled with noise and activity that the divine whisper goes unheard. Tonight, set aside everything that competes for your focus. Create sanctuary in both your environment and your spirit. Second, approach tonight with deliberate expectancy. Expectancy is faith directed toward immediate manifestation. It is the confident anticipation that what has been promised enters the realm of experience now rather than in some indefinite future. Tonight, embrace holy expectancy, not as presumption, but as the appropriate response to divine promise. Third, remove every internal barrier of unworthiness or disqualification. Some of you have convinced yourselves that others may experience divine reward, but you have somehow forfeited your opportunity through failure or inadequacy. This stance contradicts the fundamental nature of heaven's economy, where rewards flow not to the flawless, but to the faithful. Not to those who never stumble, but to those who refuse to abandon the path despite their stumbling. Tonight, May 1st, 2025, is not merely another date on the calendar. It is a divine marker, a supernatural boundary between what has been and what will be. For those aligned with heaven's purposes, it represents a moment of transition from faithful obscurity to manifest assignment, from patient waiting to supernatural acceleration, from isolated preparation to strategic connection. The reward comes tonight, not because we have earned it through perfect performance, but because faithfulness in the season of testing qualifies us for advancement in the season of manifestation. Not because we are worthy in ourselves, but because we are positioned in divine purpose. Not because we have somehow impressed heaven with our efforts, but because heaven has determined that this is the appointed time for those prepared by perseverance to step into their fullness. My friends, I cannot overstate the significance of this night. Throughout my years of studying prophetic patterns and divine timing, I have never seen a convergence quite like what occurs on May 1st, 2025. Multiple spiritual cycles reach simultaneous completion. Ancient promises find contemporary fulfillment. Heaven's investments in the faithful come to maturity. Receive what has been prepared for you. Embrace what has been reserved for this moment. Step into what has been your destiny from the beginning. The reward comes tonight, not primarily as compensation for the past, but as equipping for what lies ahead. The most significant chapter of your journey, the fullest expression of your calling, the complete manifestation of your purpose. Heaven has spoken. The decree has been issued. The reward comes tonight.